At 11:52 on a Thursday night, one voicemail erased 14 years of my life in under 20 seconds. It wasn't from a number I didn't know. It was from my fiancé, Marcus. His voice was steady, almost cheerful. "I'm not coming back. Sophia and I are starting over somewhere you'll never find us. Don't bother calling." Then the line went dead. I didn't call back. I didn't text. I set the phone face down on the counter, poured myself a glass of water, and drank it slowly while the kitchen clock ticked past midnight. My name is Camila Reyes. I'm 41 years old, and for the last 9 years, I've built a catering company from a single folding table at a farmer's market into a business that supplied 3 hotels and half the wedding venues in Denver. I understood margins, contracts, and cash flow better than most accountants. Numbers were the one thing in my life that never lied to me. People apparently were a different story. Sofia Alvarez had been my best friend since culinary school. She became my business partner 4 years ago when the company outgrew what I could manage alone. She ran the books, negotiated with suppliers, and knew every password to every account we shared. She also, it turned out, knew Marcus a little too well. I didn't cry that night. Instead, something in me went very quiet, the kind of quiet that shows up right before a person starts making decisions they should have made months earlier. I opened my laptop and logged into the business banking portal. 2 authorized users appeared beneath my name, Sophia, and, strangely, a name I didn't recognize at all, a vendor account labeled Alvarez Event Consulting. I'd approved a dozen invoices from that name over the past year, always for last-minute decor or rental equipment Sophia swore we desperately needed. I clicked into the transaction history. Charges to a downtown loft rental, a luxury SUV lease, 2 round-trip flights to Portugal. None of it matched any client event on our calendar. My hands didn't shake. That worried me more than panic would have. I called the bank's fraud line first, then froze every card tied to the business, then reset every login credential we used for vendor payments. By 2 a.m., I had also called a locksmith to rekey the commercial kitchen we leased downtown, the one Sophia still had a copy of the key to. If they were both about to lose their footing, I wanted to make sure my kitchen wasn't part of their landing spot. I slept 4 hours. I expected dread when I woke up. Instead, I felt something closer to clarity. At 8:40 the next morning, 2 sharp knocks hit my apartment door. Not the mailman's knock. Official. I checked the peephole and found a woman in a gray blazer holding a folder, a Denver PD detective badge clipped to her belt beside her. "Ms. Reyes, I'm Detective Whitfield. We've had a complaint filed against you." I let her in without hesitation. "By whom?" "A Mr. Marcus Delgado. He states you locked him out of a shared business account and are, in his words, sabotaging a company he co-owns." I almost laughed. "Marcus doesn't own any part of my company. He's never had his name on a single document." She studied me for a moment. "You don't seem surprised by any of this." "I'm not." I walked to my office and returned with a folder of my own. The LLC formation papers, the supplier contracts, 4 years of tax filings, all under my name alone. She read through them in silence. "Mr. Delgado also claims you froze funds that belonged to Ms. Alvarez." "Ms. Alvarez," I said carefully, "has been paying rent, a car lease, and 2 international flights out of a vendor account that doesn't correspond to any real vendor we've ever hired." The detective's expression shifted. "Show me." For the next hour, I walked her through 11 months of invoices under the name Alvarez Event Consulting, a business that, according to state records, didn't legally exist. Every payment traced back to my company's operating account. Every approval carried an electronic signature that looked like mine, generated from a login I had never personally used from that IP address. Detective Whitfield closed her notebook. "Ms. Reyes, this isn't a business dispute anymore. This looks like embezzlement and possibly identity misuse." I felt the floor tilt slightly, not from fear, but from the sheer size of what had been hiding under my own roof for nearly a year. That afternoon, I called Renee Castillo, a business litigation attorney I'd once used to settle a supplier dispute. She listened for 90 seconds before saying 6 words. "Send me everything. Touch nothing else." Renee arrived within the hour carrying a laptop and a legal pad. She didn't offer sympathy. She offered structure, which I needed far more. We spent the evening tracing every transfer back to its source. A downtown loft lease paid in full for 6 months. A luxury vehicle financed under a business line of credit I never approved. Payments to a travel agency, all timed suspiciously close to catering contracts that had mysteriously fallen through. "These weren't impulsive," Renee finally said. "Someone built an entire second life using your business as the funding source, slowly, over months." 2 days later, the confrontation came to my doorstep exactly the way Renee predicted it would. A rideshare pulled up outside my building. Marcus climbed out first, visibly thinner, his confidence noticeably dimmer than the voicemail had suggested. Sophia followed, dragging a suitcase, refusing to look at either of us. "Camila." Marcus tried a soft, practiced tone. "We need to talk about the accounts." "There's nothing to talk about," I said. "You were never on them." Sophia stepped forward. "Half of everything in that company came from decisions I made." "The decisions you made," I answered, "included inventing a vendor and paying your rent with my client's deposits?" Her face went pale. Marcus turned to her sharply. "You said this was temporary. You said she'd never look this closely." "She wasn't supposed to," Sophia whispered. I slid a folder through the gap in my barely opened door. Marcus opened it with visibly shaking hands. "Formal complaint. Asset freeze. Referral for criminal investigation." His face lost every trace of color. "You did this fast," he said. "You handed me the reason on a voicemail," I said. "I simply used it." A patrol car turned onto the street before either of them could say another word. 6 weeks later, in a courtroom that smelled of old carpet and stronger coffee, Renee laid out the evidence with the same calm precision she'd used at my kitchen table. Invoices, fabricated vendor filings, login records tracing every fraudulent approval back to a device registered to Sophia. A forensic auditor confirmed what I already suspected. Nearly $61,000 had moved out of my business over 11 months, funding an apartment, a vehicle, and 2 international trips for 2 people who had convinced themselves they'd never be caught. The judge ordered full restitution, revoked every authorization tied to Sophia's name, and referred the fabricated business filings to state investigators. Marcus was not criminally charged, but his name now sat permanently beside hers in a case file neither of them could ever fully erase. Outside the courthouse, Marcus tried one last time. "Can we talk? Just once, not about the case." I looked at him the way you look at a stranger who used to matter. I already stopped waiting for an explanation that would make any of this make sense. That's the only closure I need. By late autumn, my kitchen ran under new locks, new contracts, and a new business partner who actually deserved the title. I planted rosemary along the back windowsill of the commercial kitchen, the kind that grows back stronger every time you cut from it. Some nights I still think about how close I came to trusting the wrong 2 people with everything I built. Then I remember the morning I decided to check one account instead of one more excuse, and I understand exactly why I'm still standing in this kitchen today. If any part of this reminded you of someone who mistook your trust for an opportunity, tell me where you're watching from. And if you've ever had to protect what you built from the very people you thought would help you build it, I want to hear that story too. Subscribe and stay with me, because the next story is just as unforgettable.